2017 brought us what many consider a masterpiece in the indie game sphere titled Little Nightmares. For some reason, my brain always thought of the old Howie Mandel movie, Little Monsters, when I heard that title, but I tend to mix things up stupidly like that. Well, this game has its share of monsters, and the tension provides some genuine horror. Trust me when I say, as a grown man, I was genuinely scared of some of these residents in Little Nightmares, but if you're not a big fan of horror games, don't worry, because compared to games like Resident Evil or Outlast, the scares are pretty soft. Little Nightmares was a game I played for about 30 minutes 5 years ago, and didn't touch again until recently, and this time I was hooked. Not like the meat hooks you ride in the game, because this game I couldn't let go of. While the plot and lore are intentionally ambiguous, and I'm not going to pretend like I have the definitive answers, the mystery of the story just draws me in so much further. Well, enough build up, let's run away to the world of 2017's Little Nightmares. Quick spoiler warning here, the plot is open for interpretation, but I'm going to discuss some of the theories and showcase late game scenes. You have been warned. Also, please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Thank you. The gameplay is relatively straightforward. We control the girl in the yellow raincoat, 6, and your gameplay objective is to not get caught. When I say that, I mean this place has quite a few nasty looking monsters, sorry janitor, who really want to presumably eat you. That's right, there's some cannibals up on this ship, and you're the tastiest thing on the menu. Anyway, 6 can perform basic movement, being running, jumping, and climbing, while also having the ability to carry items for various purposes. Sometimes a puzzle will require you to navigate a key past an enemy, and while carrying items, your movement is restricted and that you can't climb, so I hope that you have a clear path to the end. I should also probably mention, 6 is small, and I mean small. They are rats bigger than our main character on this vessel, and as a result, the rooms aren't built for someone our size. So to do things as simple as open doors or grab a key off a table, we have to do some crafty climbing and jumping to reach our objectives. Also, the enemies become that much scarier when they're 50 times your size. Speaking of those nasty enemies, we have a few different varieties. Your first obstacle is a Big Brother-esque eye, and somehow it always comes back to 1984, huh? And if you stand in the gaze of the eye too long, you're turned to stone. Okay, now that's some creepy stuff, but I can deal with a little eye, whatever. Let's keep going, and oh my gosh, what is wrong with this guy? This is the janitor. We'll talk a bit more about him later, but for now, just know he is blind and has really long arms. Like Mr. Fantastic malfunction arms. We also have these 2 crude looking chefs, a shoe monster, a whole lot of Wall-E characters gone wrong, and of course, the lady. While the enemies are not plentiful, the level design weaves together nicely to make sure you get to keep encountering these well-designed yet horrifying, people, I guess? Not really sure if I'd consider them all human, but whatever. Every one of these enemies will try their best to catch 6 and, well, either eat her or get her on the world's worst assembly line that leads to her consumption. What's our defense against these enemies? A cool sword or a weapon of some kind? Well, no. In classic survival horror fashion, excluding the final boss, all we can do is hide and distract enemies with thrown objects. Yep, that's it. That's the easiest way to add tension and horror to a game, and hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Level design here is a real strength of the game. My favorite has to be the kitchen level, because just when you think you're out of this stinky dishwater level, you call an elevator in the natural path of progression, and guess who we see through the unopened grate? That's right, the gross looking chef we thought we ducked in the last room is here. Let's run away. Down the elevator we go, and oh, we're back to the first chef. Wow, I love it. Also, sorry chef for calling you ugly, but you're trying to make us dinner, so I think I'm justified. Anyway, this level weaves back and forth, and you're constantly faced with the presence of an aggressive enemy, and the tension here to get through without being caught is perfect. As a whole, the levels have some incredible design that creates the strength of this game and are part of what makes the experience so magical. Of course, the real beauty lies in the story. Okay guys, the story for this game can be pretty complicated and it's intentionally ambiguous, so I'll start by giving a brief overview, then we can talk about a few theories. Sounds good? Okay, let's get started. The story begins with a blurry vision of a woman turning around to look at us, and then we wake up as the kid in the raincoat, better known as 6. We don't have super clear guidance on what our goal is aside from figuring out where we are and what was up with that vision. As 6, we navigate through the giant halls, climbing on stools to turn door handles until eventually we run into some cute gnomes. Now the gnomes are mostly frightened and run at the sight of us, but if you catch them we can give them a big ol' hug. Aww. Anyway, we fall through a trap floor and are surrounded by leeches for our first real danger of the game. After escaping the leeches, we see our first instance of 6's hunger. Every so often, 6 keels over hungry, and we have to eat whatever we can find. In this first case, it's bread from a nice kid, Oliver Twist style, but after exploring a bit further, the hunger strikes again and we walk into the most obvious trap since Looney Tunes. After shaking out of our cage, we now have to get past the creepy guy from earlier, the janitor. Now the janitor, you might notice, has some terrible skin problem and that his skin is pulled over his face and as a result he's blind. But like all blind things in fictional media, he has some really good hearing, and I mean really good. You have to walk on the carpet so he doesn't hear your footsteps. You know that mom hearing when you snuck out at 16 and are trying to sneak back in? Yeah, he's got that kind of hearing. Anyways, eventually we get past him, and after an intense chase we take his most valuable asset in the elevator door, and suddenly those arms have become his biggest liability. Well, after some more traversing the mall, Six has another bout of hunger, and we eat a live rat. Okay, this is starting to go a little too far. I mean, Six just ignored all those other kids in the last area, and even used one's cage to escape a room while he sat inside, probably pissed about the fact. Anyways, ironically enough, our next area is the kitchen, where we must dodge not one, but two gruesome chefs. They're preparing for some sort of feast and using those human-shaped bags as ingredients, so we're just gonna nope our way through here real quick and, well, if you haven't figured it out yet, the maw is a sea vessel, because we see a ship boarding the vessel as we climb the outside of the structure. Man, there are a lot of those WALL-E characters walking in. We see a non-stop stream of people filled with gluttony coming to enjoy the mystery meat of the mall. And of course, we need to get through the dining room. Now these guys are kind of freaky. The way they crawl towards you like Jabba the Hutt worms or something can be a shock the first time they do it. You get lulled into a false sense of security when the first few ignore you, then out of nowhere one dives out of its seat to crawl after you rapidly. And yeah, that's one of those tense moments for sure. Well, we get through the dining room safely and have another bout of hunger. But luckily for us, those sweet little gnomes are offering us sausage. How sweet, and oh my god, what are you doing, Six? Stop. Stop! I don't even know what to say. That was dark. Yeah, Six ate the gnome. Let's just finish the game, man. Six follows the lady from her vision to her room, and after some really ominous humming from her abruptly stops. When we grab the key from her room, we find out she's vanished. Okay, I'm just gonna open this door and wow, she's nowhere to be found. That was easy. Oh crap, I spoke too soon. Run, 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 run. We have our final showdown with the lady and defeat her with her own reflection before Six decides she's hungry for another snack and eats the lady. At this point, she can't stop. And by eating the lady, she gains her powers and slaughters those WALL-E guests on her way out the door. With that, Six leaves the maw and our game concludes. Okay, let's take a moment to get over the gruesome gnome scene and let's talk about some theories on what the heck this means. Since the story is ambiguous, I want to talk about a few theories I've read through some research and think may be correct, but keep in mind there isn't really a right answer. Please discuss in the comments your interpretation and I will be happy to hear it. To start off, I like the theory that this is an actual world built from children's nightmares that children get pulled into. I think this is valid. The monster people eat the children for sustenance to fuel their nightmare world and keep the world running. This is probably the simplest explanation, but I think it makes sense. Each monster serves a role and it's all overseen by the lady. However, something at the end of the game makes me think something more. This doesn't explain Six devouring the lady and gaining her power. Or more importantly, why does the lady have a painting of Six in her chamber? Well, let's preface by saying the lady's weakness is her reflection. The mirror seems to show her her greatest fear, herself. Maybe the mirror shows her soul or her fear, but I will say the DLC shows her appearance, and it's not what she actually looks like. So obviously mirrors have some special effect on her. Now this next theory deals with the lady and Six's relationship. Perhaps the lady is vain and Six is coming to take her place, as her name is Six, implying there were 5 before her. The paintings in the ladies' room shows 5 other children's silhouettes. So is this a cycle where the lady gets replaced by the next abducted child when the time comes? Or are they related and Six is the first child to succeed? It's not clear, but I think both of these theories have validity. I personally lean a bit against the theory of children taking the lady's place, as we see Six leave at the end of the game, and the timeline wouldn't really make sense to me. However, Six being the daughter or younger sister of the lady, I think has a bit more weight. I'm not sure how valid it is, but the photo seems to imply there's some sort of connection here, and perhaps Six is coming to stop her relative that has gone too far. Let me know if you think different in the comments. Now, my theory I want to believe to be true is that the Maw is a vessel of nightmares where children are kidnapped to go and doomed to die, as either meals for the guest or soul fodder for the lady. I think the lady sucks the youth and soul out of the children to maintain her young appearance, and the mirrors show what she would actually look like if not for the soul stealing. This is why she's so afraid, and perhaps she is overcome with some sort of guilt by having to face her reflection or face her actions. You know how people say, how can you live with yourself? She ignores it until she's forced to look at herself and reflect. And at this point, she literally can't live with herself. Now, I do think some of the symbolism and themes of the game are present, such as the coming of age story and the constant battle between oppressive adults and rebellious children, but I think the overall story is one of fantasy, not rooted in realism, and the lady is a magic soul-stealing witch trying to preserve her youth. This feels like a safe theory though, and I'm more than happy to listen to some of the wild ones and hearing your thought processes. I love this game, and I love just learning more and more about the lore, so please share your theories. Really quick, one theme I think I need to discuss in this video is the theme of hunger. It's an integral part of the game, and I would regret it if I didn't at least attempt to tackle it. Our main character, Six, experiences these episodic moments of hunger where it feels as if she will die if she doesn't eat something, eventually completely rejecting the probably human meat sausage to eat a friend that was trying to help us. It's at this moment the question arises, how is Six any different from the Wally glutton guest? I feel as though Six's hunger consumes her here because this is when the separation between what we've been scared of and what we've become disappears for me. Now, it seems every character in this game has some sort of hunger or greed. Some are more obvious, like our gluttonous guest, and some are more for interpretation. Six's, for instance, could be power, while the ladies could be beauty or control. This begs the question of, what does this hunger stand for? Well, as much as I hate to say it, I think capitalism is a valid answer here. Sorry to sound like a political douche or something, but hear me out. The guests at the table are presumably eating human meat. They could represent the wealthy or more fortunate people in life that are getting fatter or richer, literally off another person. Six starts off as small and weak, only able to run and hide. But by consuming the strongest, she has now taken on the role of the monsters and in turn become a monster herself. Sorry for the business dog-eat-dog world theory, but I think it's extremely valid. Let me know what you think. Either way, this reminds me so much of a few scenes in Spirited Away, and I was waiting for No Face to come and extract vengeance on the gluttons. But now that I mention it, maybe the lady was No Face and Six took her role? I mean, she did wear a mask too. Well, we could shop theories for hours, but for the sake of keeping the video a reasonable length, I think we should stop there. Little Nightmares is a wonderful game that I feel really dumb for not giving a chance in the past, and as a result, I missed out for way too many years. Even if it's not your favorite genre, the game is an enjoyable, short game that's worth it for the level design and lore alone. I implore you to give this game a chance if you haven't already. Also, I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts and theories on the story of the game. What's up with Evil 6? I never really understood that and would love to hear what you all think. And while y'all fill me in, I'll look at playing the sequel. Until then, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you'd love my Sea of Stars video that you can enjoy here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching.